down, but they know now that it was a mistake. But then they were, you're either with the union or without. It had to be with the union if you're in the union. But now it's all, well, yeah, it's quite a few years later. And
Okay, so what do you think about the allegations that Clinton Corn Processing Company coerced employees to vote against the union?
they didn't have to coerce nobody. They had 2,300 people inside the plant that were going to vote. And so they did not have to coerce no union members.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit after the strike. So, how is Clinton Corn different?
Well, it's ADM now, Archer Daniels Midland. Okay, it went from Clinton Corn, the Standard brands, the Bisco brands, to Archer Daniels and Midland. Okay, how is it different? When Archer Daniels and Midland come in, I think we had 1,200 people. In one day, there's 380 of us. 380 left. When you come in, you either went in and you went down, get to the locker room and changed your clothes and went to work, or you went out the door. So that caused a lot more divorces, a lot more mental breakdowns, and very, very stressful. And for myself, it was very stressful because I was at home eating lunch, and they said eating their supper, and they said, well, if you get a call, they're going to call you and don't even come down. Well, I got a call, and it was a superintendent. He said, hey, Carl, we're short. You want to come into work? I said, I'll be right there. And I had a hard time getting into the plant. The superintendent had to come and get me. So yeah, it was, that was very stressful, number one. And number two, ADM's not going to like this. But the first 5 years were pure hell. There's no way other than put it, there's pure hell. They did not care about you. They did not care about anybody. All they wanted to get the production out. And with that few people, good thing I could run, why they kept me is I could run every job in the division. And that is why they kept me. But safety was non-existent. In fact, the saying was ADM, another dead man. And believe me, we had lots of them killed. Falling down the elevators, electrocuted, hands cut off. It was absolutely terrible. And they did not care about how long you worked. They worked you 12, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they worked me 7 months, 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, until I said, I just physically collapsed. I couldn't go no more. So they hauled me out in the stretcher, and the doctor says, your body just gave out. It's like somebody hitting a wall when they're running, and that's what happened to you. But then things changed, and the only reason it changed is it come from corporate headquarters in Decatur. And Decatur says this is going to become a safety plan, and things changed. And then things changed for the better. So after 5 years, things started getting better, and I spent 20 years, about 20 years with ADM. By the time I left, things were better. But the first 5 years, I had to do it because I had a family to raise. And I did what I had to do.
Do you know any of the people personally who passed because of the first 5 years, or how many people quit because of it?
Of what?
Of after ADM came in, like the first 5 years that you were just talking about?
A lot of people quit because they couldn't take the long hours. They couldn't take the 16-hour days, 7 days a week. And this is, all I did was come home and eat, sleep, and go back to work.
Okay.
And with fewer people, I ended up running 4 different jobs at one time. And plus my own simple maintenance. So the first 5 years was bad. But then it got better. And now I think it's really a good place to work, from what I hear. When I left ADM, it was a good place to work. And thank goodness ADM's here, or Clinton would really, really be depressed.
Okay, so what did you learn from the strike and after that took place? I know I'm sounding like a dead record, but...
What did I learn? figure out for yourself what is going on and make your own decisions and not be led by another person. Do not be led like a bunch of sheep. I mean, you just got to decide what you know is right and do what you think is right. Which I'm a pretty bullheaded person.
Alrighty. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss about Clinton, about the corn, about the strike?
No, I covered the strike pretty well. Clinton is a nice town. And my children all moved away, and but they had to for jobs. I mean, once you go to college, you're not going to end up going back home. I don't think. Well, maybe you will. But Clinton's a good town, and I'm going to stay here the rest of my days.
Do you think the strike overall affected Clinton as a personality? As did it really, really affect most of the people in the town?
Yeah, how the strike. Like I said, for years and years and years, a lot of bitter families. It took father against son, and brothers against brothers, and I guess the biggest hurt was people that had them issues, and they carried on. You still hear. I mean, even all these years later, you still hear it brought up.
Okay.
It was not a good thing. That strike was very, very bad. And it really affected me.
Negative, and was there any positive way that it affected you?
The strike, not the strike really. No positives except I just know more and more to make my own decisions. And I taught my children that you respect people and you learn from them, but you're the one who makes the decisions. And yeah, this is off the subject, but my daughter is an actuary. She went to Drake and academic scholarship, and she had this internship with Life Investors, Cedar Rapids. And she was making more money as an intern than I was per hour. And she had this supervisor come up and give her this your job project. So she did it. Well, he said it was all wrong, and she went into the head supervisor, and she proved that it was right. And he cussed her, and he yelled at her. And one day he says, Sally, he says, I'm going to affect you a bit. And she looks at him and says, no, you're nothing compared to my father. So I was tough on my children too.
Do you think that's just as the result of how the strike affected you?
No, it's just my upbringing.
So, when did your father and you, forgive me if this is too personal.
A year. It was a year.
A good year?
It was a whole year.
Was it brought on just by,
It was brought on because he was getting sick, and he was getting sicker and sicker and sicker.
So that long. Do you think it's going to take longer for more families?
Well, I don't know about other families. I just know about my own. But my parents are both passed. And, well, I'm 72 years old, so I don't know how they're all affected.
Okay.
I guess wisdom comes with age, too.
I know this is kind of this is kind of a late question for it, but how old were you when the strike took place?
Well, I'm 72 now, so you do your math. You can't pencil. I'm 72 now, and the strike was 79. So how old was I? You can't do the math.
Not now, no. It would take too long. Okay. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, this is 2015, and that was in 79.
So that was a long time ago.
But I was young and strong. I always said I had a strong back and a weak mind.
Alrighty. I know I still sound like a broken record, but for other families, church groups, how do you think the strike affected them?
That I don't know, you have to ask them. I'm not sure how that affected them.
All right.
I just know everybody's got their own faith. And so they did have to answer that question.
Alrighty. Should we continue, or I've gone through all the questions.
Yeah,
Nothing else you want to discuss at all?
just that strike was very, very bad. And I want people to know that it was more vicious than it made the papers. I mean, people were getting shot at, people being fouled. And I won't go into my details, but it's lucky that Molotov cocktail didn't go off, or I wouldn't be here. I'd be in prison. And there's a lot of, it was really, really, really bad. Vicious. And there's a lot of hatred for a long, long time.
Was there hatred against police at all, or?
Well, you only get this recorded, so yeah. The police, okay, I would call the police during this time, and they would never show up. Well, then found out that through the connections, I already told you I called the FBI. The dispatcher, who was a union person's wife, would send them the police in a different direction. And when stuff was going on, they were somewhere else in town. So I have no faith in the police department whatsoever at that time. The police department was corrupt. Period. I'll stand by that.
Do you think it was for the company? Did they?
No, it's for the union. They were with the union. The police force is a unionized body. And they had a very, very weak police chief at that time. Extremely weak.
How so?
He was afraid to do anything. So they did. They did. Something be going on one end of town, they go nuts. And that Reverend Dawes, ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he even come to the house and tried to get in the house one time when I wasn't there and tried to get to my wife and kids. And he's another lucky person. So yeah, the police were no help whatsoever, and they were with the union, and they had union people's relatives in the department. A lot of people are not going to like to hear what I have to say, but I've been waiting for a long time to say this.
Okay.
Do you want me to swear all this on the Bible?
That's right. Carl, just quickly, so looking at Clinton before the strike, Clinton after the strike, what are the differences, or what are some of the things that you see that either the same or are different between the two?
Well, they're about the same, except the economy is not as good as it was back then. But then we had a lot of industry too. Not only Standard Brands, Clincorn, Nabisco Brands, and ADM, but we had a lot. The economy is a lot poorer, and that's what I would say is affected the economy quite a bit. But ADM, I'm really grateful that I survived ADM, but the first 5 years were absolutely terrible. And after that, it got better. It only changed when corporate down in Decatur said it was going to change, and then it changed, but not before.
That's when they found out about the multiple. Did corporate change it after they found out?
No, corporate didn't. They had ADM corporate had different hierarchies, and the hierarchies in ADM changed. And the people that were in control when they took over Nabisco Brands is different, than it changed. And the people that were there that started what they did not care. That's why I said ADM was known as ADM, another dead man. But otherwise, ADM, I'm glad ADM's here, otherwise Clinton would really, really be down the tubes.
Economically?
Economically, yes. Yeah. Well, how much has grown is, when I started there in '62, we ground 50,000 bushel of corn a day, and that was big. And then when ADM come in, we were grinding 100,000 bushel of corn a day. And now if you check their records, they're grinding 350,000 bushel a day with less people, but they have put millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into Clinton. ADM has. I mean, millions and millions. And so it's a good thing that ADM's here. Didn't start out good, but it ended up good. There's your silver lining. Okay?
I think we're good. Okay, then let me give our closing argument here, and that is thank you very much for, seriously, thank you so much for helping us with our research, and let us know if you are uncomfortable with any of the information that you provided. We can place restrictions on some of the stuff if you don't want it to be known.
No, I said I wouldn't say it unless I had it.
Okay.
I think you figured that out already.
And upon your request, we will be happy to send you a copy of the transcript of the recording when it's completed. And seriously, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great talking to you.
Carl, did you make fences with your dad ever?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a year, and then he started getting sick, and then it worked out.
How long did it take for other people who were on opposite sides to start, come and get back together again?
10, 12 years.
Long time.
10, 12 years. It's 10, 12 years after that. And then, it was 10, 12 years.
And some people never did.
No, some people never, no, some people never did get back together. But,
Well, that couldn't have been easy with your dad.
no, it wasn't, but you gotta realize, at that time, it was a different, and, they say he was one of the founding members, but, he would do whatever the union said. Well, I'm not that way. And I did not raise my children that way. And so that's what, But yeah, no, me and my father got along. In fact, well, I was the one that always had to take care of him after. My other brothers and sisters all left, and then I was the one that do all the running. So it worked out. But,
What happened to the union leaders who called the strike? I mean, when the thing blew up in their face, what happened to them?
well, they hung around for a while, and then they just. I never did know what happened to Kronovich. I think he ended up in Florida, and I think he's dead. And the one before that in the Wildcat was Joe Murphy, and I understand he ended up in a mental institution for a while, and so I don't really know what happened to the union leadership. But there's a few of them around yet, but not many. But I'm really serious. A good union is a good thing if you have good union leadership. But if you don't, it's bad. I bet you weren't expecting that, were you? All that stuff. Are you done?
Well, it
Yep.
is what it is. You never know what to expect when you're talking to people, and